Imagine the darkest depths of the ocean, a world so vast, so silent that sunlight never touches it. Down there in 1997, something strange happened. A deep, thunderous sound echoed through the Pacific Ocean. It was so powerful that underwater microphones, placed thousands of kilometers apart, picked it up. Scientists at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, listened in disbelief. The sound was loud, low, and unlike anything they had ever recorded before. They called it the bloop. At first, no one knew what to make of it. The sound rose in pitch over about a minute, as if something enormous was calling from the depths. It came from somewhere near the southern tip of South America, close to Antarctica, a region so remote that no ships, submarines, or sea creatures had ever been recorded there. The oceanographers who discovered it were stunned. The noise was so strong that it was detected by sensors more than 3,000 kilometers apart. That meant the source had to be incredibly powerful, far louder than the calls of any known whale or marine animal. The mystery spread quickly. Scientists were puzzled. The public was fascinated. And conspiracy theorists? They went wild. Many began to wonder if something living could have made that sound. Could it be an undiscovered creature of the deep? Perhaps something larger than the blue whale, the biggest known animal on Earth? Others whispered about secret underwater weapons, or even alien communication signals. Theories multiplied as the mystery deepened. The bloop became one of the most talked about unexplained phenomena of the 2000s. But for the scientists who first heard it, one question remained. If not a living creature, then what was it? Over the next few years, research continued quietly. NOAA's acoustic network kept recording strange sounds across the Pacific. Some of them resembled the bloop, but none were exactly the same. Scientists catalogued and compared hundreds of signals, from whales, submarines, earthquakes, and underwater volcanoes. Still, nothing perfectly matched the mysterious 1997 sound. And then, in the early 2000s, something began to change. Around 2005, NOAA's researchers started deploying hydrophones closer to Antarctica to monitor the sounds of glaciers and sea ice. What they found there would change everything. They began recording a strange type of noise, low, powerful, and rumbling, much like the original bloop. These new sounds came from enormous blocks of ice breaking away from glaciers and ice shelves, a process known as calving. When a piece of ice the size of a skyscraper splits and crashes into the ocean, it releases immense energy. The result is a deep, echoing roar that travels across thousands of kilometers underwater. By 2010, the evidence was becoming impossible to ignore. Scientists realized that the characteristics of these icequakes, the frequency, duration, and power, matched almost perfectly with the original bloop recording. Each had that same rising pitch, that same massive acoustic footprint. Finally, by 2012, the mystery that had captivated the world for 15 years was solved. The bloop wasn't a monster, or a secret weapon, or a creature from the abyss. It was the sound of ice, colossal chunks of Antarctic glaciers fracturing and collapsing into the sea. It turned out that the deep rumble of cracking ice could mimic the acoustic profile of an animal call. But the source was entirely natural, part of the Earth's own rhythm. The bloop, that terrifying sound from the depths, was simply the voice of a changing planet. Yet even after the mystery was solved, the fascination never faded. The bloop remains one of the most famous examples of how our imagination can fill the unknown with wonder and fear. When people first heard that eerie recording, they thought of sea monsters and ancient myths. But what the scientists found was something just as awe-inspiring: the raw, untamed power of nature itself. Think about it. An iceberg, cracking apart with such force that its echo travels across an entire ocean. A sound so immense, so deep, that it confuses machines and frightens people thousands of kilometers away. The bloop reminds us just how alive our planet is. Every movement, every shift of ice and water carries a story we can hear, if we're listening. And in that sense, the bloop wasn't just solved. It was translated. It was the Earth speaking through ice and ocean in a voice we finally learned to understand. The discovery also opened a new chapter in ocean science. By identifying the bloop as an icequake, researchers began studying similar sounds to monitor the effects of climate change. As global temperatures rise, Antarctica's glaciers are cracking more often, sending out their ghostly calls into the deep. Each sound, Each bloop-like rumble tells us that the ice is shifting, melting and reshaping the planet beneath our feet. So what began as a mystery about monsters ended as a revelation about our world. The unknown wasn't a creature hiding in the dark. It was nature itself, moving in ways we barely comprehend. Still, there's something haunting about it, isn't there? Knowing that somewhere in the freezing waters of the Antarctic, massive icebergs are breaking apart, sending booming echoes through the endless blue. Even if we know what it is now, that sound still stirs something primal, a reminder of how vast, powerful, and mysterious the ocean truly is. So next time you hear the name the Bloop, don't think of a monster from the deep. Think of a living planet, breathing, cracking, shifting, and speaking in the only voice it has, because sometimes the scariest mysteries aren't born from the unknown. They're born from the truth itself. And the truth, as the scientists discovered between 2005 and 2012, is that the ocean's greatest secret wasn't hiding a creature. It was hiding the sound of a world in motion. The bloop was the cry of ice.